We're back. All right, for episode 2, I'm Macy.
I am Sakani.
I'm Demonte.
I'm Ja, and we have a guest today.
Yes, we are joined by a very, very special guest, Shahem.
Clap it up, clap it up.
Clap it up.
Some of you may know them.
Baltimore native.
Shahem, yeah, do you have anything you want to tell about yourself, what you do?
My name is Shahem, aka Dr. Durag or Shatire, whichever one you know me by. I am a licensed therapist and social worker,
Period.
and a content creator who focuses primarily on social commentary, mental health, things of that nature.
That's awesome.
Work.
We love that.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I've been following you for a minute, Shahem. We've been mutuals for a minute, and I love what you stand for, and I love how you're very resilient.
You're so
Let's say
outspoken
that.
about like how you feel about things. Like I love that you just like you talk your shit, but you make so much sense with the things you say. And I
Yeah.
think it's so important to like you're not just saying things for no reason or just like engaging in conversations on Twitter for the sake of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I don't know if y'all know, but Shahem and I originally met like at a dinner party. This was a while back. I think this was like 2019, 2018.
Yeah, this was a minute ago.
Yeah, and that's when we first connected. But we've been mutuals ever since. And then we found out we were both from Baltimore, and that started a whole other conversation. But yes, I'm glad that we're in the same space now. So it feels good.
Yeah, I think that all of those things kind of added up to why we wanted to bring you on for the podcast.
Exactly.
And I think you stand for a lot of the same things that we believe in, and it's great to have you.
Yes.
Thank you. I really do appreciate y'all for having me. I'm excited to get into the topic today.
Awesome. Okay, but before we do that, what's everybody listening to? So Mariah Carey, she has this thing where she's kind of honoring all the anniversaries of her albums. Music Box is one of her diamond-selling
35th
albums. Not
anniversary.
everybody has that to their credit. Yeah, Music Box just had its 30th anniversary, and she dropped some songs that were in the vault. One of them is Working Hard, and it's one of my favorites.
I gotta get into it.
I've been a fan of Doja Cat lately. I love her satanic era. I think she's eating. So I started getting into her older stuff, which it's not that old, but I've been listening to Say So recently.
I was obsessed with Say So.
It's so good.
The world was.
Literally.
I hit.
Yeah. How about you?
My turn?
Yeah.
I have been listening to a lot of Flo Milli. Again, I love Flo
Yes,
Milli.
too.
you do.
He eats.
I'm literally a Flo Milli stan. Like, I love her down. I was listening to the Beef Flow mix on the way here.
Yeah.
You got beef with me?
That was the first
Right.
Flo Milli song I heard.
That's when she went viral for the
That-
first time.
that,
Yo.
that song was so good.
Her album, I don't know I think it's called Ho, Why You Still Here, but there was so many bops like PBC,
Hottie.
Bedtime. Oh my God, she ate. That was a good project.
Bedtime.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
she
she
ate.
ate.
She's great.
I've been listening to Roller Coaster by October London. He's a really great artist. He's like jazz influenced, like heavy Marvin Gaye vibes. But yeah, it's amazing. I forgot how I was just like scrolling through like music and I just came across him. But he's really dope. I love it's like very sensual, very soft, but like the mic is on, so I stand.
We love when the mic is on.
Okay.
So I have never really listened to Tinashe like that. Like I
That
literally,
hurts my heart.
I wouldn't say I was paying her dust, but it was kind of just like I never tapped in. I just always saw the aesthetics. I just never listened to the music. And the Chris Brown controversy recently made me want to listen to her music because I wanted to defend her, but I was like, I need to be in the hive. I need to know what's going on. Like, so I listened to her latest project, Baby Angel, and I am obsessed. Like, I literally feel like I'm so late to everything. Like, she's like, I'm like, this project, I'm like, if her catalog is like this is like the type of music I love. Like, so I just feel so
She's everything.
out of touch and late, but I've been streaming that down. So my song is Needs.
Please.
Yes. So.
I've been in like a Tinashe stan since like high school.
Mhm.
And like y'all probably won't even believe, but we got into it on Twitter one time.
You want to know?
That's believable for you.
We was like in the DMs beefing. But
In the DMs, bitch, not even. Wow, that's crazy.
I just lived so many lives. But yeah, I'm still a huge Tinashe fan. Like I just hope you all just one day can just like, I hope the world wakes
Why
up.
were y'all beefing?
I was just about to say that.
Like,
Because
you can't
I'm-
skip over that.
I'm one of those people who thinks that I know better than you. Like, I know better than your team. I can make you a star. Your team doesn't know. So I was being that kind of person, and I was like 16, 17.
Hey, yo.
And she was like, you're a fake fan. Unfollowed. And then, yeah, I don't even remember what we were going in the DMs back and forth. Yeah.
I said, bitch, shut up.
Like, I don't know what song. I was like, she should have did this as a single or some shit. And she was like, yeah. So she unfollowed me. I was really heartbroken for a minute. But I still love her. I'll be streaming down. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, bitch, you love her.
Love
Did
you.
see her? You just saw her.
Nasha.
On
Yeah, because she did a free show in New York, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw her this year. Oh, that show was so good. I was in that crowd living. Did y'all see
I like-
Tinashe this? No, nobody.
No,
I wasn't a fan then.
I like her,
so
but I just
she did it.
I can't listen to a full album all the way through. I don't know what it is.
This
But,
one
like,
is
I really
it.
do
You gotta
appreciate-
stop.
I know I do appreciate her work though, because she's amazing. Like she's a great artist.
Songs for you? What?
So classic.
Lately, I've been all in my feelings, and that
Exactly.
Nashe, I've been
Lately, I've
minding
been
my
on it.
business.
Yeah,
She
Shouts
fucking
out to the
hates
Tinashe
something.
days, y'all.
Yeah,
Tinashe
I'm tapped in.
days
I'm a
are-
stan. I'm in the hive.
I love Tinashe.
You just joined.
I'm still a diehard. Like,
I appreciate the work. I will say that, like, she is amazing. She's an excellent dancer, and
Mhm.
no one's really like
Yes.
doing the shit she's done as far as like with
And-
like music videos, and like she's one of the people that keep music videos alive.
Yeah, and the K-pop girls be biting her.
down. Michael Jackson would have loved her. That's
he
not
would've.
controversial.
He
She's the
would've.
international
He would've.
superstar.
He would have loved her. Like, he would have literally wanted to be in the Needs video. Like, it's so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I said
Imagine
it.
Michael Jackson in Needs. That would be crazy.
I could see it.
Oh my god.
In the fucking supermarket.
Hands on my knees.
That would have aged.
No
shit.
way.
Okay. So let's jump into the topic today. So the topic is colorism and the experience the Busy Boys have been having with it as a whole. And yeah, so let's just jump right into it. I have a couple of screenshots pulled up of a little debacle that we
Which we
experienced.
will put on screen.
Yes, so they're gonna pop up somewhere. But so I'm gonna read a few. So one of these reads, "Not the light skin porch," and this is just a picture of
You gotta get the backstory.
yeah, this is just a picture of us on from our photo shoot that dropped from season 1. But there is a situation as well that this isn't an isolated situation. This is something that's been happening just when we dropped our pictures. And then there was another incident I want to tell you guys about. We know all about Noah's Ark. It's a show, gay, awesome. It was on Logo, amazing TV show, amazing for the queer
We
community.
need it back, actually.
Yeah, we really do.
I still haven't watched it.
But
You have my.
I got your
Paramount.
login and saw the first episode.
You haven't watched no.
You need
basically,
to know your history.
I'm getting dragged about something I don't even know about.
Me too, girl.
but basically, one of our supporters, one of our fans, kind of said they put a picture of us, and they said this is the cast of the reboot of Noah's Ark.
Jokingly, like
Jokingly,
A joke, quite
Like-
literally.
anybody in our space of Twitter, in gay black Twitter, like they would have. I don't know. To me, it instantly read as like a
a
joke.
joke. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's because I know us, like I'm a part of it, but I didn't see that and think he's.
I read it. I remember when that dropped, and I saw it as a joke. Like,
Yeah, like like
Yeah, he said the reboot in question, meaning
Like,
this would be nice.
and why are you believing a random stand account?
Right, exactly.
But yeah, this was just one of our supporters put this out. So I'm gonna read some of the comments that we got.
they
So
drag us.
my problem is people put braids in their hair and everyone calls them black. LOL. A lot of these girls do look racially ambiguous, so it kind of
racially
feels
ambiguous.
whitewashed a bit.
Y'all remember that?
So that's one. So another one is, so where's the dark DAR ... Never mind. And here's another one. This isn't going to gain any traction. The first series, the first serious as totally devoid of any masculinity. This reboot appears to be devoid of any skin tone diversity. No one is interested in a bunch of light-skinned sissies trying to play Sex in the City. Hashtag hard pass.
They kind of
And then we have...
That's our brand a little bit.
we also have some pictures of just someone replying with a brown paper bag. And then we have someone saying, and why did they make everyone light-skinned? The lack of representation is disturbing. And so, yeah, we just want to talk about this, have an open discussion, have an open forum. I would just like to say, you know, we are all, everybody on this couch, everybody in these seats are all open to learning. And we're all open to, you know, growing as people, but we are also humans as well. And, you know, when you send just like a message on Twitter, you might not think that it's that serious, but at the end of the day, we're all humans. But with that being in mind, let's get into what we want to talk about. So the topic at hand is colorism. So does anybody have, with all of that we experienced, does anybody have any immediate reactions? How did you feel reading those things?
Yeah.
What was your thought process?
I think going into our podcast, we all knew.
We talked about it jokingly.
Yeah, we previously spoke about it briefly, just as like we knew that people were going to have something to say, that there were 3 light skins and 1 brown skin, but people consider Ja to be light skin apparently.
I mean, I guess I do as well. Like, I never technically consider myself dark skinned, but like, I just still never felt less black because I was light skinned. Like, my family, like my grandfather is darker than you. So like, I've never like, you know, looked at like, it just has never been a thing I've even had to observe in my life until this, because it's never been questioned. I've never even.
Yeah, I don't think any one of us has like questioned our blackness before. Not even question it, because we don't, but at the end of the day, it's like, have people questioning us, like, are you actually black? Like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm on this platform saying this. Why would I just be out here saying I'm black if I'm not?
Yeah.
And I think with our conversation, we knew eventually we would have to have an episode about it. We just didn't know when, and
we wanted to approach it properly as well.
Exactly.
Because it is a sensitive topic, but at the same time, it's like, I don't feel too weird talking about it, because at the end of the day, I am black. My experience is black. My whole life has been black. So it's like, I'm still willing to learn. And what I had to think about as well, like outside looking in, I'm like, if I saw that photo, what would I have thought? Like, but I would have had the thought, to be honest. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, I would have probably thought like, why are all these niggas light skinned? But I wouldn't have tweeted that, because I don't even like, I don't know. I wouldn't have carried on the internet like that personally, but like, because I didn't know y'all and I didn't know if it was the actual reboot. Like, but it's still just like, I would have had the thought, honestly. Like, I've seen stuff like that and I'm like, where's the black person? I see like photo shoots like that and modeling all the time. So like, I also just tried to put myself in the perspective of like, I kind of in a sense see where some people are coming from, being a little dense and not really caring or checking if this was an actual fact.
Yeah.
And I get that surface level, we don't have a lot of diversity just looking at a photo of us. But that's why I think the podcast is important and actually tuning in is important, because we're so different in so many ways. Like, so I don't know. I just feel like it's just.
I also think if it came from a place of actual concern, like, oh, why are 3 of them light skinned? It didn't happen that way. It was like, oh.
Just trying to drag us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just it gave haters. Like, it didn't really give, like, we're trying to bring awareness or anything.
I will say, right, I hesitate. Like, I had to learn the hard way, child. You can't jump into this conversation with, like, words like hater, because there is validity to it. Like, colorism is an undercurrent in not only like our culture as Black people, but like our subculture as gays, like, you know, in the Black community. I really just have to say, I understand why people are frustrated, why people are upset. And I think a lot of the times it's important to take a step back and understand like when it is or is not about like the people in question. And sometimes when you are like visible on like a public platform, it is people's opportunity to discuss these very serious topics and issues that happen in our culture. And I know that's hard to be on the receiving end of. Like, I think it would be foolish to sit here and say, like, it is not psychologically and emotionally damaging to the people who are on the receiving end of it. And a lot of people are going to try to dismiss that, like the feelings that come with being subject to being dissected and criticized like that harshly. However, the reality is colorism really is a thing. And seeing people who are of lighter skin complexion like do anything is going to be difficult when you feel like they are getting further ahead or getting further along because of their skin tone. But I do think there is like conversation to be had about like, where is this like limit? When is it a conversation, and when does it become just literally attempting to destroy or tear people apart?
We didn't even we didn't make the tweet. Like, we all know that, but also like no one will take that we have a podcast from the pictures that we posted.
True.
Because it wasn't
There was nothing
no
about the
reference.
podcast.
Yeah, it was no reference.
Right.
But I will say, like, for me, I was just having I was really frustrated with that time because I was just like, bro, who the fuck, where is this coming from? Like, and it really made me sit back and like think like, okay, like we don't represent ourselves in this way. Like, as we all know, we all have friends of like many different complexions, and we love everyone. Like, everyone is beautiful, and there's no like, we don't have no hate in our heart for nobody.
Right.
So it felt like it was just like, I started questioning. I'm like, damn, like why is this happening to us? Like, we literally just became friends like not even like a year ago when this happened. And it's like, I was questioning. I'm like, bro, like how did we get here?
Yeah.
And it was like, I think also because we received so much success and like the amount of time we did, and like we know, bitch, the pictures ate down. Like, shout out to Marlon, you ate that because
You
the
did.
pictures are amazing.
Those are our best photo shoot today. I'm sorry.
Like, we came in swinging.
That's why they was like, these are a little sickening. We gotta humble these bitches a little bit. But no, my immediate reaction when I saw those things, you guys know in the group chat, I was getting so defensive.
Mhm.
I was like, first of all, these light-skinned bitches are not my only friends.
Right.
I am not choosing friends because we light-skinned. That's just not who I.
Never,
that's
yeah.
not who I am.
It'll
That's
never
never
do
been.
that.
My older two friends are not light-skinned. But then even after that, you know, when I got defensive, I started going down like this dark like swirl. I was like, wait, like we have to think about this from a business standpoint as well. Are we going to limit ourselves from brand deals, from this and that, because there is a lack of diversity? It's just
No.
there's three light skins. No one's gonna no one's gonna tune in, but no one that could be a barrier to people buying into the brand of the Busy Boys because the lack of diversity. And
I think who we're trying to sell to, yes. I don't think at the end of the day, we all have light skin privilege and pretty privilege. So it's like, those are things that they've already helped amplify our brand in so many ways. I just think it's about getting in spaces and being clear about what our brand is. Because I don't think we're going to have much hindering as far as bookings or working with companies and things like that. Like, honestly, I think those things are going to come, like, not easily, but they're going to come with the growth of the brand. Like, I just think it's about being clear that this is for Black people. Like, this is...
And that's one of the main things we stuck to in our mission statement.
And that's another thing by and this is a part of the dark swirl I was going down. That was another thing. We are making ourselves, this podcast is for Black people, but the younger, dark-skinned person, gay person watching this from home, he doesn't see himself in us.
But I think that's why watching isn't like, because they might not identify with surface level things like how we look, but they might identify with our experiences. Like, so I think that does make it hard because I've thought about that too. But it's like, we also don't want to bring someone dark-skinned just for the sake of it, just to say we did it. Like, that also just is so corny to me.
But it's also like, we didn't say like we're gonna create a podcast and be like, oh, 3 light skins and 1 brown. Like,
there was supposed to be a 5th person on the trip. You know, like, it wasn't even supposed to be just the 4 of us. So, you know, like, this happens so like naturally.
Organically. Yeah.
Everything we do happens organically. So like, when we get in these situations, it's like, wait, what? We didn't plan this.
I think the reality is that there's always going to be people who will be unsatisfied no matter what you do. And I say that not to dismiss people who are upset. I say that to say, like, it's going to be challenging to address these type of things. And I think it's important for everybody, y'all here, the people who are watching with criticisms and support, like to acknowledge that these are issues that are generational. These issues go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It is important to acknowledge like that we will not be able to deconstruct these things over the course of one episode. We won't be able to deconstruct these things over the course of a few tweets or posts. It's just not possible. And starting the conversation is important. And it's hard to carry that conversation if we can't all meet each other at a human level.
Right.
That's not going to happen on social media. That's just the reality.
Twitter's not the forum for that. Yeah, but I will say, even like thinking about like y'all's brand, right? Your brand will have, and this is just like something that can't be contested, your brand is likely to have more sponsors, to have more support, because people can look at you and see like something that is societally deemed to be like the standard. And I think it's important to acknowledge that privilege. But here's the thing, right? You can acknowledge privilege all day. It doesn't serve any utility or use to like pretty much just assume or want people to completely disappear because of the privileges that they hold. In many ways, all of us are privileged. I am a darker skinned person, even though Twitter will call me light skinned now. That's insane to me.
But I don't understand it either. But I say that to say, like, even still, like, we're queer. But we still hold privileges. We are Black. We hold privileges. Like, we are Americans. That alone, like, privileges us more than a large number of people in the globe. Like, and I think, like, it's important to acknowledge that privilege does not make somebody not human. But if you do nothing but acknowledge the privilege too, there's no utility to that. Like, you have to actively like work at and against these systems. Like, we know that colorism operates as a system, and it systemically like oppresses people of darker skin tones. And I think like, yes, having and sparking these conversations is really important, but I think we can think of like some ways to like have some tangible approaches towards dismantling it too. And yes, the brand is, I think, important for y'all. Like, this is a beautiful thing that y'all are building. And I think it's important for us to have queer representation on all fronts. And you should not like use darker skinned people as like band-aids to these type of
just
issues.
because people are complaining about it.
But I think that begs the question, like, what tangible things can be done to address it?
And I will say, like, on a larger like scale, outside of just us, how do you feel like there has been progression as far as like these topics come, like colorism issues? Do you feel like it's gotten like more, like, has it gotten better in a state, like,
I will say
umbrella term?
Maybe I'm foolish, but I'm a hopeful ass bitch. And I really do truly believe that there are things to be hopeful for. I do believe progress has been made. I know a lot of people subscribe to doomerism and like wanting everything to be bleak and like gray. But I truly believe that the world is like, there is hope and things are getting better. I will say, I know I have been in rooms and sat at tables that my ancestors, people who came before me, would never have had access to. And that is something that I credit to the people who came before me, and I will never reduce down to no progress. Like, yes, I do believe progress has been made, but that does not take away from the progress that needs to be made.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I think like being like in my everyday life, I see progress, but like in my corporate life, like working my 9 to 5, I do not. Like all the jobs I've had, I just feel like they do like these diversity things because they need to, or to like appease the Black people or the people of color in the workplace. Like, I don't ever feel like the jobs I've had, like, you know, I currently work for like a big company, and like I feel like I've always worked for big companies. I worked at AT&T, I worked for Spectrum. Like, there were always a lot of Black employees, but it never felt... No, I don't want to say that. There weren't always a lot of Black employees, but at AT&T and Spectrum there were, because there was a high turnover rate. But I just feel like I never felt like I got treated like the white person at work. I'll say that. Like, and I don't want to say ever, but in most scenarios, like even like I've never been someone who just doesn't do my job at work. So it's like, I just feel like, I've almost always kind of feel like I have to work harder at work. But in my everyday life, like, I just feel like in the world, like, I feel like we've come, like, it's like undeniable progress with how far like gay rights and things have come. Like, and there's still so much work to be done. But like, I'm in the same boat as Shahem. Like, I just think like, I'm hopeful. Like, I just think, like the harder we fight, like, I don't think it's gonna like, it's gonna be a big fight, but it's not gonna be for nothing. Like,
for sure. Yeah. So I feel like we talked about our situation enough. And I want to talk about like the real world ramifications of colorism and the deep rooted problem that it really is. Because like, for instance, what comes to mind for me right now is Erica Mena and Spice, that situation.
Yeah.
I am all for
insane.
Erica Mena. I'm all for her being fired for that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we're all on the same page with that.
and like we just have these situations
Will you
arise.
say what happened for the viewers and for myself?
Oh yeah, you don't know about it? But basically, Erica Mena called
This is like
Spice.
hip hop Atlanta.
She called her
they were arguing.
a slur. I don't feel comfortable saying the
A
slur.
monkey.
She called her a monkey.
Yeah.
So they got into an argument. I don't know the backstory, but Spice said something about her son and she called her a monkey. But it was just the delivery of it and how much she kept saying it after that. Like,
Also, she's not black.
and then her cop out after that was like, I have black baby dads. I'm always with black people. You know that person that's like, oh, I have black friends.
Yeah.
Like, she just really didn't take any accountability for it. And it's just that the historical racism marked with calling a black person a monkey is just like significant, I feel like. So
Yeah, I think the thing that comes to mind for me about like the implications of colorism is a lot of people typically reduce it down to trivial shit like dating. That's one. If you see
That's
colorism come up, people are typically talking about
the page,
right,
like that's why I feel like they're always calling
preferences.
out.
And to me, right, I think people don't really acknowledge how insidious colorism is. Colorism impacts your health, like quite literally your health, your ability
How
to
a
be
doctor
alive.
would treat you, like
How a doctor treats you,
Yes.
exactly. It impacts your housing, your ability to secure employment.
Career.
It-
Yeah. Like
the whole, like literally all of it is impacted by your skin tone. And it is very likely that if you are discriminated against on the basis of your skin tone, that you will be treated worse in the world as you navigate the world. The world is less forgiving to you, and that is on every aspect of the society because it is something that is so deeply ingrained in our culture that people with darker skin tones are not as human as people who are not. And I think it's important to acknowledge that it's not just like it can't just be like about dating or
Right.
words. Like
It's-
shit is
so much bigger.
That's not where it ends and begins. Like,
yeah.
no. One thing that I think is like so sinister is that you guys know I'm mixed, white dad, black mom. One thing that I think is so sinister is that mixed kids are literally becoming like the face of black people in Hollywood. Zendaya in Euphoria, her dad was white. He passed away in the show. Her mom was black. And then I think about these other shows and these other instances like The Little Mermaid. I love The Little Mermaid. It was cute. King Triton was white. Halle Bailey in the movie was black. We didn't see her mom at all. And it's just like, I just feel like mixed, like lighter skinned people are becoming like, oh, we're gonna have diversity. We're gonna put in a mixed person.
Exactly.
Like, no, like I genuinely don't like that. Like, I don't, and me as a mixed person, I don't need no representation. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just seeing like those instances of like Euphoria, The Little Mermaid, and there's some other ones that I can't quite think of right now, but stop.
I do remember, like, this was a long time ago. I feel like y'all probably know too. Even the viewers, y'all probably know this as well. When it was like the National Geographic thing and it showed like what your average person will look like. And like,
yes, and it was that light-skinned girl with the green eyes.
that shit, I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy.
I
But
just
I
feel
get
like,
what you're saying with that. It's crazy.
and like
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz in the Batman, like
Oh God.
it's just
That
so
movie was so
harder. It's
bad.
harder for darker skinned people to become a leading lady.
Always.
Like the women, like I genuinely think like colorism affects women way more than it affects men. But like just the way that like I just feel like even back in like the 60s, like the Hollywood glam era,
Mhm.
you like the darker skinned people would be like, you have to go apply for a maid or a slave or this and that. And then they would only let like the light skinned people be like
Do you,
Dorothy Dandridge or like,
do you know what I think about when I think of like when you're saying all of this? I think about like the medical field, right?
Mm.
When you look in a textbook, 9 times out of 10, if you're looking at a medical model, the skin tone of the model that you're seeing is going to be white or light. And there are so many conditions that show up, especially skin conditions that show up differently on darker skin.
yeah.
That lack of representation can literally kill people. Like,
Yeah,
while
for
I
sure.
do think it's important to acknowledge how seeing yourself on the screens is important and how that impacts your psyche as a person, as a human being. I think, like, again, like I come back to this is like way deeper than even like
Entertainment.
entertainment,
Yeah.
because the shit really does kill people.
Yeah.
And I think like the gravity of it is not felt by a lot of people, because a lot of the times when we do have these conversations, it revolves around entertainment. It revolves around dating and stuff like that. It literally loses the impact of just how violent colorism is. It is extremely violent and
Yeah.
visceral. And it's not just like Zendaya, like I think does a good job navigating it, because she's even
Yeah,
spoke
she
about
does. She does.
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
she don't even take roles that are designed for
Belongs
Black
to-
people.
yeah.
She would prefer to take roles that are written for about, like, who was she in the Spider-Man movie?
Jane.
Yeah,
Jane.
Mary Jane Watson. Yeah,
Exactly.
Mary Jane.
She
Yeah.
could play ogre like the white girl from Down the Block, and she's okay with that.
Right. No, yeah, I totally agree. Like we stay on these trivial topics instead of getting to the real
The nitty
meat.
gritty shit.
But it's like, yeah, a lot of people just don't do the research.
Mhm.
They don't know about where to even start. So they just talk. They start with, oh, this is how I date. This is what I seen on the show yesterday.
Or let me drag them because this is who they date.
But it's also
That's
like
important
this day
too, though.
and age. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
okay. That's important to consequence. That shit can
please,
be.
let's take that out,
Oh
'cause
no, that's
it.
one like that's a little like because don't get me. I've only dated people of color my whole life, so for me personally, like that's not an issue. That's not even something somebody could like approach me about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just be feeling like I just think about people like my experience as a gay Black person and not always being accepted by the people around me. Like, and I started within my family. So I just kind of sometimes look deeper at it. Like sometimes these people, that was their sense of community. Like this was the only people that they were able to have, unfortunately, because there are Black people out there they would have been able to connect with, but they might not have gotten to that network or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not defending it. I'm not going to war for these people because they're getting dragged for dating somebody white. But I just sometimes empathize with them a little bit because I'm like, you know what? I don't know your story, but you might not have known no better. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also the day and age of how we grew up and like the timing of how we grew up and like when we grew up, because we grew up in a day and age of like social media, and like social media has like constantly just risen. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
It's constantly risen as we've gotten older. So we are part of the progression of that. So as it's gotten like more and more, we've seen like all the like social media shit of like the light skin versus dark skin shit that was happening as when we were like younger. So I feel like sometimes we would like, not us, but like we could like, people could like fade into that and just like literally be a part of that battle.
even
So it's
subconsciously.
like, yeah, and I think now we're at the point where it's like before now the conversation, we have to break away from those like systematic views of like how people would approach certain things when it comes to that. I feel like it's gotten better, but it's still obviously so much more progress has to be made regarding conversations like this.
I have a controversial opinion.
Say it.
No.
We want to hear.
Personally, I will say it is important to acknowledge and to examine our preferences and what they're rooted in.
Mhm.
Right.
The fact that this is controversial, but I don't give a fuck who you're dating. Again, like I give a
Same.
fuck about the medical model being light and dark. Like
Mm.
I give a fuck about like people not being discriminated against when it comes to housing, food security, employment, stuff like that. Like, and I understand why people, again, fixate so heavily on the dating. I get it. I was there at some point myself. But
was a white man tour?
Girl, never in my life
Okay.
would I ever let a white man touch me.
Clock.
But that's neither here nor there. I've never let a white man touch me, and I don't see it happening in my life.
Period.
But anyways,
Fuck
like I genuinely I used to be there in the sense of I used to be upset when I saw it. Like when I would see like people dating outside of their race, because for me, where I grew up, I grew up in Baltimore. Like it was like almost all Black people where I'm from. But like I was like, what the fuck? Like y'all, like these the ops for real. But the more I grow and learn about colorism and how insidious it is, like I said before, the less honestly that is a focus for me. I do question some people because some people hyperfixate on dating.
Yeah.
White
It is
people.
weird. Like not to be like that, but like the white Black boys that be dating white people, that's when I'm kind of like, you just completely whitewashed.
Yeah.
Like, you not like a nigga at all.
It's sad.
Like, them ones,
not a
that's
nigga
when
at
I'm
all.
kind of like, like, y'all like Sperry's, boat shorts, button downs. Them ones, I'm like, you just white. Like, I can't defend you whatsoever. But I just feel like, everybody's walk of life is different, Like, I think it is important for the Black people who date white men to kind of, because I sometimes just hope, like, I'd be like, I hope they just kind of, like, woke a little bit, Like, you're not dating somebody, like...
Without a job.
Also, I feel like it doesn't even come down to, like, how they dress. It comes down to, like, when you actually have a conversation with them, you can literally tell, like, this bitch don't have a clue.
That's tea. I just be feeling like when they dress like that, they almost always be the same. From my history of meeting them type of Black niggas always is white as fuck.
Girl,
Like,
wake up.
literally,
But,
in the second place.
I like how you keep saying like the more insidious parts of colorism, because a lot of things have been coming to mind as we've been having this conversation, like the industry of skin bleaching and how that's like $1 billion industry.
It's so big
To
in
literally-
Asia and Jamaica.
Change the skin that you were born with, and then that's one thing. Such an insidious, and that's like beauty, whatever. And another one that comes to mind is like, when you use sunscreen and you have like that white cast, it's basically saying that this isn't for you. And like, there's not many, I use Black girl sunscreen, so and then that's a
Elton.
specific,
Good.
so it's just, colorism just affects so much. It's so ingrained in our society, and that it's disheartening when you think about it, all of the ways that it's ingrained in our society.
Even washing your hands. Do you know, like, the technology for washing your hands, the sensor for the soap? If you're darker, it is harder to pick up your skin tone. Like,
That's
like
crazy.
the shit is
I never
everywhere.
knew that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I know it because it's hard to wash my damn hands most of the damn time.
Right. Like you probably experienced that. And we're like, what is this? What's going on?
So I'm like, I think some things are hard for me, and I always like, I have siblings who are darker than me. Like, one of my little sisters was born with cancer, and she's dealt with a lot of health battles, and now that she's an adult and she's like doing everything on her own, like, she's told me multiple times, or she's like, I just feel like they're not listening to me in the hospital. Like, and she's like, I'm in there just getting sicker and sicker because they're not helping me, or they're not listening to me, like stuff like that breaks my heart. Cause I'm like, I can do something, but there's only so much I can do. Like, we have to do something so much bigger for that to change. But it's just like, like, literally, like you said, like, that's my little sister's life, like, that's her, she has like issues with her nervous system and everything, so it's like, this could affect her like living. So it's like, stuff like that like breaks my heart. And I'm just like, I feel like I deal with, like, I was talking about the workplace and stuff earlier, and I'm still light skinned, like, I can only imagine how much harder it is for someone of a darker skin
Can
tone.
we just acknowledge that, like, the light skin, brown skin, dark skin, it is subjective.
The classifications.
Like,
That
I
too,
don't
because
think
some
they
people will call me dark skin.
It's
Like,
so regional too. Like, it
Yeah,
depends
it
on, like,
is.
some people don't even believe that, like me as a mixed person, you're not light skinned, bitch. You're mixed. Like, you're not even a part of the black
conversation.
like range, bitch. You need to stay over there.
Yeah.
So like, it depends on who you ask. Like, But we have a couple questions for you. One of the first questions we want to ask you are, what are some of the mental health ramifications of colorism?
Do you know what? Like, I actually talked about this when I was in grad school about like how impactful colorism is on a person's mental health. It literally impacts so many different facets of your life that it makes your life like harder in so many ways that if you're not dark skinned, you probably wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Like I can, like not even about me for real, but I have seen like dark skinned people just be met with such harshness when it comes to anything. Like the world is
Yeah.
typical, but this is like, even if you, because you mentioned pretty privilege earlier, but like desirability, like
Yes.
in general, like the politic of desirability, when you have like aspects of yourself, when whether it be dark skin tone, having a larger body, having features that are not seen as societally like beautiful, like those things impact the way that you are treated by people
Yeah.
overall in the medical field, in your education, in housing, in employ. Like I mean, so many facets of your life. It really can create a lot of mental health issues. Yeah, and I like to emphasize, like when I work with the people I do as a therapist, like I can't erase these systems. These systems exist.
Right.
And the main thing I can do is validate that this shit causes you harm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't hear that, believe it or not. But yeah, it creates a lot of issues for people mentally.
I mean, I don't even hear conversations like this all the time, so I can totally believe that. Like,
Yeah, because we want to know who you dating. If it's a white man, you can't. So I'm gonna let me stop.
Like
Not.
fuck all that
I'm in the
work and
clear.
that jobs. We want to know, you got a white man?
No.
Get y'all some
Where's
lashes.
your nigga?
Absolutely not me.
My mama would be in trouble if she was on social media right now.
Ooh.
She said they gonna be like, you got a white man? But okay.
Ain't no white
Side
man.
note.
I'm screaming.
Keyshawn. Okay. So another question. I think that I can say for us all that none of us believe that reverse colorism is a real thing.
It's not.
But can you help us explain to people who do think that reverse colorism is a thing, why that's not a thing? Because you guys know, we see it all the time on social media. Some light skin will be like, oh, but what if I said that about dark skin people? It's like, boy, shut up. Like,
It's like the white person trying to make Black Lives Matter about them. Like, oh, what about White Lives Matter? That's every time someone says something like that, or like, oh, I have a black friend or something like that. I always just resorted to like, you just sound like a white person.
No, you're tone deaf and you just missed a complete point.
Yeah.
And you're probably purposefully trying to miss the point. But Shahem, can you help us explain to people why reverse colorism is not real?
Take your time, sister.
God. Beyond even colorism, the definition literally being about people with darker skin tones, beyond that, it's important to acknowledge power dynamics. And I think that's where a lot of people lose footing in these conversations when they don't have a solid understanding of power dynamics. We live in a society, whether you have the historical knowledge or want to acknowledge it or not, we live in a society that has been built upon the idea that whiteness is the standard. Things that are closer to whiteness, not the people who are considered white, but like the construct of whiteness. The closer you are to whiteness as a standard, the lighter your skin, the more able-bodied you are, the thinner you are, the more of a higher class you are, the more power you have in this society that is predicated upon the belief that that is what is superior. There is no reversing power when it comes to this type of thing, right? If we live in a society that is literally built to uphold this belief, and the culture runs deep. I mean, white supremacy culture runs deep. We have whole standards of being that are wrapped up in the way that we can uphold the society. There is a reason why, for example, when a victim comes forward, we are quicker to question the victim than we are the perpetrator or the accused. That is because the system is like protective, and it is built to literally protect itself from being dismantled. So if you don't understand power dynamics, it's easy to fall into the belief that colorism is just about words or your feelings. And the reality is it's not. It is a system that has been built over the course of hundreds of years, hundreds of years.
Right.
And it's not just about your feelings being hurt or somebody saying something mean. It is about like your housing. It's about like your food, your ability to survive and access resources. It's not just about your feelings. So it's not no reverse colorism. It's not.
Yeah,
Period.
for me, I like the way that you just explained that because for me, it's so silly to have to
It's so
acknowledge it.
silly.
I'm like, how do you not get this? But to hear it like, explained out like to a 4-year-old, like
Jesus.
Because I would have just said, bitch,
like
what?
what's not
You
clicking?
need to get
What's
it.
not clicking?
Sometimes I say that.
Turn
too.
it on. Turn it on.
Turn it
Turn it
on.
the fuck on. But yeah, so next segment that I want to talk about is acknowledging our privilege as lighter skinned people. Do you guys have any like experiences where you feel like you've benefited in situations because you're lighter skinned? Do you feel like anything that for me personally, I feel that in a lot of like I would navigate the corporate world, I feel like that I've gotten into certain spaces and places because I'm kind of like the digestible black guy. You know, he's
Just black enough.
yeah, like from the outward experience, from just like the interview standpoint, like, oh, Macy Barker, oh, his parents didn't give him no like ghetto name, nothing like that. So like they okay, let's bring him in. He'll be like one that we can
Palatable,
palatable. Yeah. So do you guys have any instances like that you want to talk about?
I think it's the same with work for me. Like, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I know how to turn it on when I'm at a job. I know what they want, So it's like, I'm like, hey, how are you? So nice to meet you. Like, I completely almost have to change how I would present myself to anyone else because I know that's going to get me the job. And it always has. Like,
I feel... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like I don't like turning my blackness off though. Like, I feel like that's one thing I really struggle with because I feel like I always have to be like myself. Even like I was in a dance company. This was when I was living in Denver, and mind you, Denver white as hell. But it was only me and one other black person, and he happened to be from Baltimore. So, bitch, when we see each other, it's like, oh my God, what's up? Like all this shit, and it's like I feel like for a long time he was like trying to hide his blackness to like fit the mode of the company or whatever, to like kind of like fit that. And I was just like, when I was there, like I'm like, girl, no, it will be none of that. Like you, and there was an instance actually. Yeah, and I can't, it's hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
I'm a pro.
Also because of
But,
like
like,
where I come from.
Yeah.
For me personally, like another thing is like modeling. Like I remember vividly, I did a campaign for like this gay kind of like board game, and they had white people, Latino people, and I was the only black person. And
I know what you're talking about.
They asked me the day before, can you go get braids, cornrows? Luckily, I already had cornrows.
Them saying that the day before, that's how you know there's nobody black on the team.
And then they asked me to wear do-rag. And so for me, going to that shoot, seeing like I was the black representative, I'm the face of black people for your campaign, you've got it all wrong, baby.
Yeah, you dropped the ball.
You've got it all. You got multiple white people, multiple Latino people, no Asians, but you had me, just me, no other shade, no other, as the face of black people to market your company. And I feel like with like navigating the modeling world, it's so much of that.
Yeah.
So much of that. But those are my two.
I feel like it's hard because like for me, I feel like I have to do the code switching almost as a means of survival. Like I know I would not have gotten certain jobs if I did not.
Right.
Like I couldn't go in there like, what's up, girl? Like, like I knew how I had to present myself to get in that position, to get in that space. Like, and it's like, that's how I'm paying my bills. That's how I'm surviving here. That's how I'm able to do things I actually want to do. Like, it's hard because I feel like it is like that fight within. Like, obviously, I want to be able to be myself and just be like, "Girl, what's up?" Like, it's not even so much about an unprofessionalism. It's just like I'm talking to you how I just feel like I got to talk to you because I'm at work. Like so. It's hard, but I just feel like every black person could get that. Like, it's sometimes like it's almost like just a means of survival. Like, you got to present yourself in certain places a certain type of way because of the white standard. Like,
So, Connie, how do you feel? Do you feel like you've had any instances?
I could speak on nightlife. I felt in New York City. I've been in nightlife, not in nightlife, but like going out since I was in college in 2016. And to this day, like people of darker complexion get turned away from a door depending on what club you go to. And it's drop dead gorgeous people. And you know, it's the shallowness of a bouncer at the door. And you'll see like drop dead gorgeous dark skinned people getting turned away. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how pretty you are because you're of darker complexion. So I feel like going to places that are like receive us with no hesitation has been like a way of me being more intentional of like if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense to me. Like we will never have to worry about that.
Like let's say when we were hosting one of our parties and the bouncer at the door turned away one of our darker friends, it's like, okay, we're not hosting here anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck that.
But we've made it a point not to do that at places because they do want to diversify their
that's why we've gotten
people.
booked at some places because they want more Black people to come.
Exactly.
I feel like, and that's like another instance of us benefiting from our lighter complexions. Like we're gonna be the ones to integrate your club.
But I feel like in my eyes, I'm like, that's fine. Let us bring them because I feel like we can book our friends who are DJs that are darker skinned. It's not even about them being darker skinned. It's just like we can be the face. I'm okay with that. That's why I just feel like we have to use our privilege for a reason. Like we're gonna have it. It's not gonna go anywhere. So it's like use that shit for good. Like let's give the voices to the community who's not gonna get it as easily as us.
Yeah. I will say like after we hosted like the Pride Party, and this I don't think this has anything to do with colorism, but I was just really happy to see that Ra got that event. Like the gig.
Bitch, Ra's been booked and busy.
Yeah,
like I'm so like
he is.
I'm so proud of him. Like I just feel like from the point we've met a couple years ago to now, like when I met him, the only part he was really DJing was Dick Appointment. Like he is like a resident DJ at Lambda now. Like he has his own party. Like so I'm so proud of him.
Shout out to Ra.
Shout out to cousin Ra.
Cousin.
I did want to comment on the survival that comes when you code switch. Like that is really something that is born out of survival. And I will say, as I guess the darker skinned person here, even though technically,
hold on, put your
technically I'm considered light skinned on Twitter, but
that's not.
I will say when you don't code switch, which I have dedicated like my life to not doing because I find it to be so reductive. And I refuse to limit like my Blackness. Everybody has a right to never like here's another thing. I don't question the way that Black people survive in a world that's anti-Black. That's number one. Like so I understand code switching. I might side eye if you take it a little too far, but I get it. I say that to say like as a darker complexion person, you are treated vastly different when you decide not to code switch. And I say this to say, right.
In a negative way?
In the negative way. Right. Like you're not allowed to be Black. I'm a therapist. I quit a job literally because like I wear do-rags, clearly. Like hence the Dr. Do-rag.
That's such a thing on Twitter. They'd be like, you're gonna get your therapy from a guy, a person who wears a do-rag. Like,
well, yes.
well, yes.
And
like
kind of sorta.
I had a supervisor literally ask me, like, do you think you are limiting yourself professionally by wearing do-rags? I said, no, and I quit. Why? Because one, I was like the best therapist there, but also it's like, I'm not going to limit like my life around like how you perceive and deal with Black people. Like that's just not how I'm going to limit myself. This is a part of my culture. I love being a Black American, and this is like part of what that means to me. And this is how I choose to represent myself. It comes with a lot of backlash. Like people, whether consciously or subconsciously, don't understand that they hate seeing somebody who still is in tune with Black culture, who is like who uses like the lingo, who uses the connotations, who uses like the vernacular. They hate it. and they don't like seeing it because they don't associate that with professionalism,
Yes.
intelligence, or the
Yes.
ability to do a job.
And probably
Yeah.
sometimes they couldn't have done that. So they're like, bitch, how the fuck?
Yeah.
You can move like that when you that girl.
Have you ever had like someone like of even any person actually? Has anyone ever like touched y'all's do-rag? Or like
Motherfuckers touch my
Ooh.
hair.
Has
Not my
I've had-
do-rag.
touched y'all's
I've
do-rag?
actually just had my first experience in the office last year. A white girl touched
I
my
remember
hair.
you texting us
Oh my
that.
God.
This was in Denver
She
as well. I was rehearsing and we're in the back of the room. We're about to go like go across the floor and she's like, I love when you wear these.
I
said,
Oof.
Bitch, what the fuck?
That's so crazy.
I said, don't touch
I've
that.
never
No,
had that
I was getting
happen.
my eyebrows done one time, and I think I told y'all this story before, but I was like laid back. I go to the threading salon. So I was laying back, and this was when I had my hair grown out. So I had like a fro, and the random lady, not even the one that was doing my eyebrows, she came and she literally put her fingers in my scalp.
Oof.
I said, what are you doing? She said, oh my gosh, I just wanted to feel your hair. I never felt hair like this before. I was like,
The fact, like, every time I
Don't
hear a
touch
story
me.
like this, the audacity that someone actually came out of their mouth and said, like, oh, I've just never done, like, I just can't believe
okay,
it.
so that means you got to put your fucking hand in my head?
Maybe
Like-
they scared of me, child. that ain't never happened to me.
That has never happened to
Shout out to
me,
you.
but
Well,
I've
I
had
didn't
people
see
like
it-
touch my hair.
I didn't see it coming. I'm literally laying
Oh
down,
my
just
God.
getting my eyebrows done, and I
Yeah.
felt a fucking hand coming in my head.
Yeah.
I reported her
That's
ass.
I was
straight
just-
to HR.
I was just like, because at this point, it was already late in the season. So it was like, this was like an ongoing thing, like of me wearing my do-rag as soon as I come to rehearse. Like, I have my do-rag on for like warm up and like class, and I take it off, like maybe if we're like starting to rehearse, like in costume and shit. So it wasn't like you waited until like end of April to like touch my do-rag for what?
She was plotting.
And it was
Mhm.
like,
Unhinged.
do-rags are also fun. It's like we wear different colors. Like we can be, it's literally a part of us and
It's
like,
a wig.
our personality.
I do want to say, I bring that up though, because I think it's important to know, like, if you are someone who has privilege in this regard,
Mm.
stand up for the dark-skinned person who you see being treated differently. Like,
Right.
stand
Absolutely.
up.
That leads me
like,
into
yeah.
my next
Yeah.
point. But yeah, I actually, you guys know I went to HBCU, and I think this is something that we can get into a little bit on maybe on another episode, maybe another topic. But there's an air of anti-blackness even within the black community. I went to a HBCU. If a professor, if a staff sees you with a do-rag on, they like,
Monique.
what is Monique?
What are you doing
in the
outside,
airport
queen?
with the bonnets? She's like, don't wear bonnets. There's such an air of like, and it's just
Don't be too black.
Yes, you being too black right now.
Mm.
because they're going to see you. Who is they?
Exactly.
Like, and that's one thing that I like. I am on the right side with a lot of people on Twitter. They just like, we're not here to be appeasing white people.
Yeah, I'm good for running outside in my bonnet or my do-rag or
I
both,
don't give
depending
a
on what
fuck.
hairstyle I
I
got.
wear
love my
my
button
do-rag
down.
into work,
Bitch,
but
it's like how you wear that do-rag faithfully.
You do.
I'm taking it off before this corner.
yeah, I
Queen.
wear because if I don't, my hair literally just starts curling.
No, I
up.
get it. That's how my hair used
No
to
matter
be.
how much fucking
Right.
wave gel, whatever I put in my head, it just starts curling up. So I gotta wear it to the last moment.
You
But
should.
no, I wear my do-rag into work and I forgot to take it off one day. And one of my colleagues, they came over and they're like, oh, a new look? And I was like, yeah, I just forgot to take it off.
Just my scarf, girl.
But okay, yeah, this is a question that I think that was a great segue into. So, what role can lighter shades of people play in advocating for their darker skinned brothers and sisters? I think that we kind of hinted on it a little bit, but just intentionally saying it. For me, one thing is there's even people in my family who are like, some of the guys, they're like, I would never date one of those black loud girls.
My little brother said that to me before.
Oh, that's one.
Oof.
And that's one thing that we gotta really
Not that.
we gotta talk about.
yeah.
Like that's one thing. These young boys. Like I don't know if you guys heard about the story. The young girl getting killed in London right now because she turned down a guy's flowers. There's like a breeding ground and like this ecosystem for young boys to become like women hating
Mhm.
Yeah.
incels, and it's so like I literally have to like my younger brothers and sisters and brothers and cousins, I'm like, if I ever catch you watching like one of these motherfuckers, I'm going to like beat your ass. And if I ever hear you say some shit like you would never date a da 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 or like I'm going to literally hurt you. But going back to the question, is there any ways that we can advocate and be,
First, I think that's important too because like all of these systems are connected. That's important to acknowledge. Like, but if you want me to be honest, to keep it simple, use your voice. Open the door.
Yeah.
When you see somebody, when you see the colorism, when you hear the colorism, say something. Don't just stand idly by. And when I say open the door, like similar to like what y'all were talking about earlier, create the opportunity. If you know that you have a foot in because you are more palatable, like make sure that you open that door for people behind you. And that just goes across the board to any of the things, right? Like pull people behind you. And I think like that's so broad and it sounds like so trivial, but providing provision of like material, like change, like helping somebody to obtain more resources, that is really important. And I think use your voice and open the door.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
That's why I haven't been talking because I really just want to like take in everything you're saying and not just like feel like I can enter myself in without even really knowing the knowledge of like the experience that you go through as an individual rather than like trying to insert myself in like a conversation where it's like.
And this is what we brought you on here for. Sorry not to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah,
but for you to
it
like
makes sense.
really take over.
Educate us too. Like I feel like I learned a lot.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you,
even
Dr.
if I'm light skinned. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think like just open the door behind you. And just understand that when these conversations happen, like bringing it back to the original point of these posts where people are upset, there are going to be people upset. Those people have a right to be upset. Even if y'all didn't do anything personally to these people, understand that colorism is something that is so, like, again, it's pervasive, it's insidious. People are angry about it. People are going to address it in any way that they can when they see it. And that is not invalid. Like, even when it comes to pages on Twitter deemed to be about colorism, I'm not shading nobody, I promise. It is important to note like that serves a purpose. People are angry, people are upset. They have a right to be. And it's easy to want to dismiss it. It's easy to want to challenge it because y'all know y'all's character, I'm sure. Like, I know I've been around y'all. I've like seen y'all out. I've been to parties of y'all's. I know like y'all's character to a degree. Like, I know it's so easy to want to defend yourself against it, to stand up because you feel like it's unfair. But think about the insidious nature of colorism and why people are angry. That's just like, I have to step back, even myself, when it comes to many a topic and remind myself of the same thing. Like, people be mad and it's for a reason. And sometimes you have to just acknowledge like, damn, I'm sorry. And validate people's feelings. Like, I'm sorry that this is upsetting. Like,
But I can only validate your feelings if the approach is right.
Yeah,
like, you can't be like, you light-skinned nigger ass bitch, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, sorry,
block button.
Pauly Joe, like, bitch, fuck you and fuck your mama.
No, I agree with that. You know, I
totally agree. Like, I just think, as long as like it's an approach where I feel like there is something for me to take away from it and learn. Like, you just can't come at me. I'm gonna be defensive if you're attacking me. Like, it's just no way to like.
I think that was where we were with like everyone's approach.
Because we were just in a group chat like, do we say something? Should I reply? It was some people I knew in the quotes. That's why I'm like, bitch, I've been in the club with you. Like, how's you trying?
I honestly think that we handled it. Like, doing this, being here right now, handling it this way was the right way to do it. It was about the podcast. We're handling it on the podcast, and we're not ignoring it. We're not acting like it didn't happen. To close everything out, how do you guys feel about this conversation? How do you guys feel in general? How did the conversation go?
I'm glad we addressed it. I do think, I feel like things get taken out of context so much. I think that's still going to happen with this. But like, I just feel like people who watch the full episode, like they're gonna learn things. Like they're gonna learn more about us. They're gonna learn about colorism in general. Like I feel like you brought so much to the episode. Like you articulated things in a way that we would not have been able to.
Agree.
So I just think that like this is just an educational episode all around. I'm glad we finally addressed the topic because it's been something on our minds for a while.
Yeah.
I
Because
think.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
I think we all knew that we wanted to address it. We just didn't know how or the best way to do so. So I'm glad we waited and took our time and brought you on, Shahem, so that you could shine light on like your knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And your experiences as well.
Yeah, because I will even say like before we even like as we all said like we knew this was gonna come up, but the first time that we felt like we had like it wasn't like it's not backlash, but we first got like questioned about it was when they left that comment. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was like the spam page that left the comment for
About
Ja.
Ja.
Yeah, and they were like, "How do you feel like being around like all light skinned people?"
Yeah, and
things
that
like
stuff like that always made me feel a way too because me and you are both fully black. I'm just kind of like, people look at me as the black one, and I'm like it's no disrespect to y'all, but it's like we are both completely black. So I'm just like, that pissed me off not only for me but for you as well because I'm just like,
Yeah.
y'all throwing him in the category he's not even in. Like,
It's for one thing, it's for me and Sakani, it's one thing, but for like y'all two, I'm just like, I can only, and it's just identity and like how it really can fuck you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
low-key.
a lot of people on Twitter, or not on Twitter, just in general, are also still confused about the differences between ethnicity, nationality, and race. And I think
Oh my God.
they need to
that
teach a worldwide class for that.
Yeah.
shit. Jesus. Like, I will say, I do think ultimately, like, nothing we experience with this compares to like what a dark-skinned person goes through. Like, I don't think it's like, so I don't want to make it seem like we got it so fucking bad because truthfully we didn't. It doesn't mean it didn't affect us, but like it's such a smaller issue compared to the grand scheme of things.
And that's why for me, like I was honestly, y'all know I was really hesitant with this episode because as we know, like social media will take so much shit out of context.
right.
And even like this topic will already spark shit for people to talk about and feel like they can like say some shit to us about, which is okay. And I feel like it's gonna be good if they watch the whole episode and have like an actual conversation about it. But I didn't want it to kind of be like we were being like, oh, this is a pity party for us and like what we experienced because
I think
And
we
it's
addressed
not
it
that.
almost in a perfect way.
It is, it's not that.
because bitch, I was nervous down. I said,
I was a little nervous talking about it too because I just feel like part of me wasn't, because I just feel like I'm black. I should be comfortable saying anything about
wow.
surrounding black
I'm not
topics.
black.
Like, how am I? But at the same time, I'm just like, I haven't walked every experience in life. So I don't want to say something that's just like ignorant, But I do want to ask, to wrap it up, are we doing a question?
Yes. So Shahem, every time that we do an episode, we have a question, anonymous question to
From one of the fans.
from one of our
Oh my
fans,
goodness.
supporters. I hate using the word fan. Ugh. Hey,
It's
fan.
okay.
Hi, fan. Okay. So here's the question. Hey, y'all, keeping it 100. Do most of you actually want love right now, or just someone cute to keep you company and fulfill your emotional and sexual needs while you chase a bag? And Shahem, feel free to answer this as well.
Child, I got a man.
I was about to say.
Period.
Oh.
Oh, this is the cuffed up couch.
Listen, I am.
That's not.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I like how you can play cuffed up when you want to. because-
Right, but other times she's single.
She's thinking like, which one is it? But go ahead, Shahem.
I don't know. I mean, I try to keep my relationship low key because,
Yeah,
like,
same.
Because
Yeah, I
I
didn't even know.
not seen them. Not a pic,
Listen.
not a shoulder, not a
you
finger.
may have, you just wouldn't know.
Oh.
That's the thing.
Ooh,
Ooh,
that's
damn,
hot.
hold on. I'm about to
That's
go.
hot.
I love that
creepy.
too. Period.
Yeah, but the internet is too invested in other people's
Literally.
lives, choices, relationships. I am not. The more visible I become, the less interested I am in allowing the internet into that space because I
Right.
genuinely do care about like the people who are closest to me,
Yeah.
and I will not subject them to the same shit I go through. That's it.
Period.
Yeah.
I will say for me, what I know for myself is like I'm really a lover. Like I love love, and I
Me
love
too.
I love loving on my friends. I love like loving on my partner, and just like it's so good when you feel like you find your person. and it's like you're willing to do whatever you can to like make it work. That's what I feel like I've been through. Like I'm willing to do whatever I can to make it work, even though we both have had our fuck ups, but it's just like the love is still there. Like it feels good and it feels right, and that's all that matters. Like when it comes down to the time, if we're both willing to like keep going, and like So I feel like it's not something that I feel like when you invest in love and you invest in a person, it's not you're just doing it for like attention or just like let me just grab him. It's like no, you have to literally invest in someone. You invest in yourself, because ultimately you're also changing. You have to change yourself to fit the relationship. Not change yourself, but like you learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about your partner. You learn so much about what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable of doing. So. Yeah. I love love.
Yeah. I'm the same. I love romance and I am a hopeless romantic. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily looking for love, but I just let things happen. And the situation I'm in just happened, and I'm really happy for like where it's headed and the pace that we're going at. Because I am a happy person, genuinely. So I feel like I'm ready to like be with someone and share that happiness and be happy together, as opposed to.
I want a nigga.
Clock it.
I'm ready to be in love.
Please.
If y'all know somebody.
I'm ready for the weddings. Who's gonna get married?
Like, I need to be a best man.
So
You.
Dolly Parton said,
Huh?
I wish I had a nickel.
I wish I had a nickel.
Josh, how do you feel about the question? Because we got to wrap up.
I feel I'm in a space right now where I'm like, I feel like I'm never working on myself so much to where I'm like, I can't date a nigga. Like, I always feel like I could work on myself and fuck with a nigga. The fuck? Like,
I'm a multitasker.
so I'm kind of in a place where like, I am about to start therapy for the first time. Like, you know, after talking to my psych the other day, like, there's just so much. I've just never dealt with my depression in the right way. And I feel like that has it to an extent shown in my relationships. And I do think like the reason I never really have had a serious relationship does boil down to me. Like I do think a lot of the guys have been issues, and I would never. I'm not putting everything on them, but I'm not putting everything on me either. But I think it was a balance of like both things. Like they kind of wasn't shit, but I also don't know how to properly navigate my emotions all the time. So
I
just think I'm in a space where I'm getting to like work on myself. So like I'm open to like a fuck buddy, I guess. But like
At least you
know, I just feel like I'm also ready for my husband too. If he just, I'm gonna be in therapy. So just know I'm working on myself.
My timeline was married by 25. I'm 26 now.
Bro, at 25?
Yes.
Ooh.
A lie.
But I'm supposed to have all my kids by 30. But
it was all a lie.
Y'all, to wrap this up, y'all, I think that we had an amazing conversation.
This was such a good episode.
Could have gone better than it honestly did. And Shahem, we thank you so much for coming on.
Shout out to you. Baltimore native.
I got a little gift for you.
Shouts out to Down the Hill.
I got a little gift for you, but I'm not gonna get it right now. I'm gonna give it to you after. But closing remarks, anyone?
This can't be undone in one conversation.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So this is a start. This is a start.
Absolutely.
And thank you for everyone who has tuned in and watched the full episode. I think that's very important to watch the full conversation. So if you made it to this point, thank you very much.
Exactly. It's going to be a long episode, but it's a very important episode. So
it needed to be long. But yeah, we'll see you guys on episode 3.
We're getting freaky next week.
Busy boys signing off.
spank me.